arrested on a DUI charge for driving while intoxicated in Manhattan. 29-year-old is a free agent. French Open tennis, Serena.
CBS Sports Radio. CBS Sports Radio. You found the most in-depth coverage of the Silver and Black. The nation and the league arrive in Las Vegas in 2020. Live from the CBS Sports Radio 1140 studios, it's Silver and Black Today. Join the conversation by calling 702-889-5978. And now, here's your host, Scott Gobranson.
Sunday morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Silver and Black Today. Of course, that is back to 2 hours now, everybody.
Yes.
That's right. We're back to 2 hours. None of this 1 hour stuff. Yes, it's the off season. It's summertime, and the living is easy. Okay.
Oh no.
I know. Yeah.
Oh no.
Are you saying oh no to my singing? All right. Anyway, we are back here to talk Raider football, and we have just a stocked show for you today. Unfortunately, this week Chaz and I lost a good high school friend, Darren Foote, 49 years old. Want to just dedicate the show to him and his family. We're going to miss his celebration of life down in California today. But if you have an old friend that you haven't talked to in a long time because you've been busy or whatever, give him a call. You just never know what's going to happen. All right, moving on now. We're going to talk. We're going to have Austin Gayle on at 15 after the hour to talk about Raiders who are on the cusp. Raiders who have maybe something to prove. They're a make-or-break season this year, 2019, so we'll talk with him about that. And Kim Gradisher from the Imagine Dragons Taylor Robinson Foundation about the big Raiders VGK softball game fundraiser will be on. And also Jonas Peterson, the CEO and president of the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance, for all those haters who said this stadium, $750 million public money, it's not going to help anything. Well, guess what? He's got some data and some great background to tell us how the Super Bowl coming to Las Vegas, which will happen, and the Raiders coming to Las Vegas will have a big economic impact. And then lastly, Paul Miner. Of course, everybody, Raider fans out there know Paul on a big weight loss journey, 18-year-old kid, really motivated. Raider Nation has been behind him. He's going to come in and tell us how he's doing in the studio here in Las Vegas because he lives here. He's also going to tell us how he's helping raise money for Cure for Kids, which is a cancer foundation as well for children in the area. And as always, I am joined in this end of our by my co-hosts. Kelly Kreiner first. Kelly, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How you guys doing?
That's right.
That's
the last time Kelly will be a few words.
He's good.
And then, of course, Chaz Osborne. Chaz, how you doing today, buddy?
Oh, great. There's no place I'd rather be. Are we almost done?
Oh, boy. I'll tell you what.
2 hours now, man. 2 hours. They demanded it.
Back to 2 hours. You guys actually have to, not only do you have to wake up, but now, at least now when you wake up, it's worth it, right? Because we're...
No.
Kelly, what are you talking about, man? You spending time sitting next to Chaz,
Kelly's on fire.
He is on fire. Okay, guys, so let's jump right in because we got a lot to get to. First of all, I want to talk about what happened this week with the Raiders, right? Which is, of course, the signing of Richie Incognito. I think we gotta spend some time on that. I wouldn't say controversial, but definitely a polarizing thought, or I should say move by the Raiders. It makes all the sense from a football perspective, but there are questions around it. And so we want to talk a little bit about that. First thing we want to do is the reporters, the pool of reporters up in Alameda, as soon as they made the signing, asked General Manager Mike Mayock about it and really just wanted to get a little more information on what was going on and kind of what went into the thinking of the Raiders signing Incognito, and here is what Mayock had to say.
Whenever he's been focused on activity solely on the field, he's been fine. And we've done a 1-year prove-it deal with him, and prove-it means both on and off the field. Okay, there's some expectations he's got to meet in both areas. He turns 36 in July. We think he's going to be a good football player and allow himself to compete for the left guard job. And just as importantly, he's got to prove it off the field.
All right, now we're going to go right on this one to Kelly because you have a few things to say. So, Richie Incognito, good or bad signing?
No, I think it's a bad signing. Just as a football move, it's a good signing.
Mm-hmm.
But for the second year in a row, you're signing a guy that you're basically expecting the NFL to suspend. Same thing with Martavis
Bryant last year. Yeah.
It's like, and after the signing comes out that whether or not the Raiders knew it or not, he pled guilty to going over to his 90-year-old grandmother's house, punching a hole in her wall and ripping her security system keypad out of the wall. Like, yeah, sign me up for that guy.
You didn't do that with your grandma?
No. Security camera with our security pad. No, that wouldn't happen.
I guess his father passed away, right? So we can't give him a minor pass for being a little bit upset. I mean, he didn't do anything major to anybody. He just punched a wall.
Yeah, he just punched a hole in the wall and ripped something out of the wall at his 90-year-old grandmother's house.
Yeah, but Chaz, but how much of a break do you give a guy? I mean, what does he have to do? Is like, is there a line you cross, like beating up your wall, the wall of your grandmother's house, or
definitely a line.
Threatening people inside a funeral home? Like, what is the line?
I've gone back and forth on this one all week because it's extremely controversial. There's a huge hole to fill at that position. I understand that, but this kind of goes against the whole building the team with character and leadership philosophy that they've been feeding us for the last few months. We've heard all week that it's like a low risk, high reward kind of signing. I really just been on the fence about the whole thing. Listen, I've heard him talk before. He's very well spoken, and if he's got his head on straight, he can be a valuable asset. And I feel like when he's on the field, he does that. When he's off the field, he has problems. So the thing with his grandma and the thing with the funeral home, his father passed away, so you can see where he's going to be upset. And these guys are gladiators, so it's like, we want him to go out Sunday and just mash, but then, Monday we want him to host a fancy dinner party. Like, they just can't flip the switch like that.
Or be a pastor.
You don't have to host a dinner party. You have to not threaten to shoot people and not punch a hole in your grandmother's wall.
I get it, man.
Well, we forget about the stuff in Miami too, which I'm not like. The whole bullying thing is one thing, but the video of him just throwing around the N-word and things like that around the other guys, and they're kind of, he was one of the guys doing that stuff like that. Well, but all of this goes into. I mean, it's
the character piece you're talking about.
Everything in together now.
I understand. And there's also backstories to that as well. They're talking about how the coaches might have egged him on and asked him to kind of bully him because
that's why I said that's not as, because that happens in locker rooms.
There's a lot of both sides of the story.
Too far.
That's why I didn't get into Harvard, was because my teachers used to bully me. Anyway, so we do have another soundbite I want to play because you both brought up the character issue with Richie Incognito, which seems to be the issue. Because from a football standpoint, they had a massive hole that they created at left guard by trading Kalichi Osemele, and so they had to fill it. So they fill it with Richie Incognito, who's in great shape. But they asked Mayock about the character issue, and here's what he had to say.
It's a fair question. I've talked a lot about foundation. John and I have both talked a lot about foundation. I think we reinforced that with our draft, and I think at the end of the day, you can't have all Boy Scouts. And what you have to do is you have to do your homework on each individual case. And we've done our homework. We've talked to an awful lot of people. We brought him in. We talked to Richie. We told Richie what we'd expect both on and off the field. And we expect him to adhere to that. And we're going to meet with our player engagement people after practice. We've got our clinician coming in tomorrow, and I'm not going to go into any more of that other than to say the infrastructure will be here for him to use.
All right, so there you go. Infrastructure, which, if you go back to, let's do some Raider history here. You go back to Aldon Smith. Aldon Smith had a bunch of issues off the field, drugs and violence. And one of the frustrations that the team shared at that time was due to the collective bargaining agreement and the offseason, how things go, the teams can't have contact with players. And what Mayock is referring to there is that they have processes in place, i.e. they're getting him counseling, they're ongoing, all that kind of stuff, which is fine. But again, there's going to be gaps. There's going to be times you're a big boy, you're an adult, you're a 36-year-old man, you're going to have to manage yourself. And I think the issue of mental illness comes up here. Our society still, especially with men, does not, I think, really take seriously the mental health issues of men. Now, I'm not excusing anything Richie Incognito did. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in making excuses. You own what you've done. If you have an illness, it's up to you to take care of it. It's up to you to get treatment. It's up to you to continue treatment. So if he continues treatment for these issues he's had, and that's the big question, then I don't have a problem with it. And it goes back to what you said. You say, well, Kelly, you said they're talking about character and all that kind of stuff. You said it a couple weeks ago when we were talking about draft day and all that, and say, look, you can't listen to what they say during the offseason. They're not really telling the full truth because they're just building a team. And I think in this case, if Incognito comes in there and isn't a disruption, doesn't get in trouble, it's going to be looked at as a great signing. If that line performs well, the line has to perform well, and they still have Tom Cable as coach.
Which isn't exactly helping the situation.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't understand how Cable keeps getting work, but well, I mean, show me an offensive line he's coached that's been good for a while.
Seattle.
He was in Seattle's line wasn't good when he was there.
Didn't they win the Super Bowl?
Their offensive line wasn't the reason they won a Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl because of their defense and their quarterback running around for his life the whole time Tom Cable was there. If Tom Cable's offensive line was why they won a Super Bowl, Tom Cable would still be in Seattle.
He would. But I think that the Incognito signing creates more questions, not as much for Raider fans. I think Raider fans do have some issues with it. But overall, I think it's one of those issues where in the NFL, they, again, especially with the Raiders, people always want to look for a negative with the Oakland/Las Vegas Raiders. And so they'll find it with the Richie Incognito piece. All right.
This just gives those people more ammo because this is the most Raider thing that people expect them to do.
That's true. So you're reinforcing that stereotype. All right. We're going to step aside for our first break. When we come back, Austin Gayle from Pro Football Focus will tell us which Raiders are on a make-or-break season in 2019. You're listening to Silver and Black today here on CBS Sports Radio, 1140.
This is Tony Cardasco.
Go to patriotsoftware.com. promo code RADIO and get 2 months of accounting software free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
Accounting and payroll. Keep your time and money.
Looking for quality auto parts for your vehicle? Shop O'Reilly Auto Parts. You'll find convenient locations, thousands of brand name parts in stock, extended store hours, everyday low prices, and well-trained professional parts people. Come see for yourself at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. Better parts, better prices every day.
This Memorial Day, kick off summer with something very cool. Up to 40% off appliance special buys. Like a Whirlpool top freezer refrigerator now for just $598. Its big 18 cubic foot capacity has plenty of storage space. And that price puts everything within reach. Summer's here, and today is the day for doing with Memorial Day savings now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only while supplies last. See store for details, valid through June 5th.
Triple-digit temperatures mean it's pool and lake season. This is Las Vegas Fire Chief William McDonald reminding you to stay safe around water at all times with a few helpful tips for the season. Always remember that pool inflatables are no replacement for life jackets. They're toys and should not be treated as water safety devices. Together, we can make this a summer of safety. Brought to you by these fine sponsors.
City of Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, Dignity Health, St. Rose Dominican Hospitals, and Southern Nevada Toyota dealers.
The Dodgers take on the Phillies.
Today at noon on CBS Sports Radio, 1140.
You found the most in-depth coverage of the Silver and Black. This is Silver and Black Today, live on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Here's your host, Scott Gobranson.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks to all our listeners. Also, we stream live video on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope via Twitter, and on Twitch. And I'm not talking about the Twitch I have if you're watching. No, just kidding. Just a reminder, though, eat, drink, and bet. Join us at the Moneyline Sports Bar and Book at Park MGM to watch the NBA Finals and the NHL Stanley Cup Final. There are dozens of TVs, great food, and different drink and beer specials for every game. That's Moneyline Sports Bar and Book at Park MGM. And in the second hour, we will be giving away a $25 food and beverage gift certificate to Moneyline, a new sponsor here on the show. We thank them for their support of Silver and Black Today and also of CBS Sports Radio 1140. So make sure you listen. We're going to be giving that away, and it's going to be a call-in thing, so be ready for it as it comes up. All right, back to Raider football now. Joining us on the Newsmaker line is our good friend, the senior content and strategy analyst for Pro Football Focus. He is a one Mr. Austin Gayle. Austin, how you doing this morning, buddy?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
All right. As always, one of our more popular guests, and we appreciate him coming on a Sunday. All right, Austin, so here we are. It's the off season, so we have to talk about what's coming up in 2019. If you look at this Raiders roster, there's a few guys, I think, and you have talked about in recent days, that are in sort of a make or break year. And we're going to start with the one that I know you've talked a lot about, and that is Karl Joseph. What does he have to do in 2019 to stay a Raider and to prove that he belongs on an NFL roster?
I think first and foremost, he needs to be played at the right position. I think putting him in man coverage at the slot or against tight ends is just not his strength. And the sooner you stop playing to your top players' weaknesses and play to their strengths, as soon as you're going to get better play from him. I think Karl Joseph, whether he's in a box safety role or even a free safety role, needs to be in zone coverage, playing shallow and sometimes deep zones on longer passing downs. That's where he plays his best. That's where he played best at West Virginia. That's where we've seen his best play currently in the NFL if you split out his snaps. I think stop trying to make him something he isn't. Play him in the shallow zones. Let him rush the passer more. He's a very good pass rusher. He plays the run well when in the box. And when in capable zone coverage, just playing the deep third or playing underneath zones, he makes plays on the football, and I think he can be a game changer for this Raiders defense if given the opportunity to play in such a role.
All right.
Oh, hey, Austin, it's Kelly here. What do you see happening with Arden Key? Is this a year where he needs to make a big jump up, or do they give him a little more leash with his role expanding this year?
I think as a second-year player, you can't give up on him after even if this year doesn't go as planned. I think it is legitimate that Max Crosby might eat away at his snaps because Max Crosby is a better run defender, has been in his college career, and will probably enter the NFL as a better run defender than Arden Key. Arden Key was never a good run defender at LSU, and the largest concern with Arden Key's pass rushing ability is that he has one move or one outside rush. He's a speed rusher through and through, and 1.2% of his pressures at the college career were bull rushes. That's about 2 bull rush pressures in his career. That just doesn't play at the NFL level. And I've said that before on Twitter, talking about Arden Key's pass rushing ability. One-trick ponies, even if you're the best outside pass rusher in the NFL, do not last long. You need a counter. Talking to edge rushers in this class, specifically L.J. Collier of TCU, who went to the Seattle Seahawks in the first round, I asked him, hey, man, you're just a bull rush pass rusher. Do you think that's going to fly in the NFL? He said, absolutely not. However, I just need a bull rush and a counter. You need at least a counter, whether that's an outside, an inside swim. You need a counter to your best move, and Arden Key hasn't found it yet.
All right, again, we're talking to Austin Gayle from Pro Football Focus. Austin, all right, Eddie Vanderdoes, what about him? Now, injury obviously has kept him out, but is he one of those guys who not only needs to stay healthy, of course, to stay on the field, but once he's on the field has to show something, especially with the way that this team is starting to rebuild its defense?
Oh, absolutely. With how many defensive interiors have been added, P.J. Hall, Maurice Hurst, Jonathan Hankins re-signing with the team, Eddie Vanderdoes needs to do something in training camp, the preseason, early in the season to carve out a role with this team. You know, when he was drafted, he was praised as, this former high-star recruit that was super athletic, can rush the passer and play around, high-motor guy. He needs to show that. First part of that is staying healthy. Ability is the most important. Availability is the most important ability. And if you can't stay healthy, which we didn't see him do at UCLA, he had injury history at UCLA, it's not going to work for him in the NFL, especially with how the Raiders are attacking that defensive interior need with P.J. Hall, a high second-round pick, Maurice Hurst, obviously a guy they want to play a lot this year. Eddie Vanderdoes needs to compete for a spot on this team, or he will not be on this team soon after.
Hey, Austin, this is Chaz. Listen, first of all, congratulations on all your success, man. I know you work hard, and you're a great follow on Twitter as well.
I appreciate that, man.
I think Raider Nation's still kind of split on the Derek Carr situation. In your opinion, we're all pretty much on board with Derek Carr. In your opinion, where do you see that? This isn't a make or break year for Derek, is it?
It is. In my opinion, it is. And I know that may be adverse to some of the opinions of Raiders fans and other analysts in the NFL. It is a make-or-break year for Derek Carr, and I think John Gruden set it up that way. You don't add Antonio Brown, sign in Tyrell Williams, draft a running back in the first round, make Trent Brown the highest paid offensive tackle if you're not trying to put a quarterback in the best position to succeed to see if he can do it. If you can't win with upgrade, 2 major upgrades at wide receiver, an upgrade along the offensive line, a juice of youth at running back, Josh Jacobs, who they see as a first-round talent, which is rare in today's NFL as a running back as a first-round talent. If you can't do it with these guys, 3 back-to-back, if you do another third year in a row with a top 10 pick in the NFL, it's time to move on. And that's my opinion. I think if Derek Carr can't do it with this unit, can't get out of the bottom third of the NFL, it's not going to work. And I think you need to start looking at Justin Herbert and Tua Tagovailoa. It doesn't make sense to continue to do this, pay him the money that he's due to make if he can't get this team, this roster, out of the bottom third of the NFL. I'm not saying this guy has to win the Super Bowl to make this year, but he needs to get out of that bottom third. You can't have back-to-back bottom, top 10 picks, especially with how they've upgraded this roster.
Right.
The offensive side specifically.
I feel like all of us around here feel like he will get it done. You talked about Karl Joseph maybe playing out of position. I know that a lot of the signings we've had this year, they talk about the versatility. We've got guys that can play here and there. I'm not sure if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing this year, because it might be a year maybe they're trying to find out who fits where. How do you see that going forward?
It's an interesting question in today's NFL. I think versatility is a buzzword. People love versatility on defense. They love Swiss Army knives. But specialization isn't a bad thing. Finding a very good slot cornerback that doesn't play safety, can't play outside, but really does the slot corner well, like Casey Hayward Jr. early in his career. You see that with Desmond King for the Chargers. That guy only played slot corner.
Exactly.
He can play other positions, but he's so good at slot corner. Justin Coleman, who's now no longer with the Seattle Seahawks, but played very well at slot cornerback for them. You get guys that can do one thing very well, that goes a long way, specifically at a position like slot corner that is growing in value. In 2006, slot receivers were targeted on 22% of quarterback targets. In 2018, it was 32%. It's a 10% growth. Value targeting the slot is getting more and more higher. And I think now you need good slot receivers and you need good slot corners. It's becoming another position in the NFL, and I think I bring that up because LaMarcus Joyner might take snaps at slot cornerback. Maybe you put Karl Joseph there. You got Nick Nelson out of Wisconsin. Find a guy that does it well and don't move him anywhere else. That's my opinion.
Austin Gayle again from Pro Football Focus. Austin, with a minute or so we have left with you, what other players are you watching closely on the Raiders, especially veterans, or even if they're only 1 year or 2 year players? Who else are you watching and saying, you know what, this is a time when we really want to see them make that next big step up and show what they can do?
It's a group of players. It's the entire 2018 draft class. Colton Miller earned one of the lowest pass blocking grades and lowest run blocking grades we've ever given an offensive tackle in the history of PFF. That dates back to 2006. Brandon Parker, just a hair better, barely. He's the second lowest run blocking grade we've ever seen from a rookie offensive tackle. And you look deeper down, you need P.J. Hall to play better. You need Arden Key to play better. Maurice Hurst to maybe turn the corner. Even though he is a fifth-round pick, he has potential he needs to reach. That entire draft class, the start of the John Gruden era, needs to turn it around. You cannot afford to go into Las Vegas with what is supposed to be the core of your team by then, your third and fourth-year players by then, underperforming, especially for how high they're drafted. Brandon Parker was traded up for the first pick of the third round. P.J. Hall, a Division III product that maybe shouldn't have gone as high as he did, went in the second round. You need return on those players. And I think the biggest spotlight is on Colton Miller. He was drafted the highest.
Yeah.
He plays a premier position in the NFL. They are not playing the highest paid offensive tackle at left tackle to keep that guy there. You need to prove it. You need to prove the reason why they're putting so much faith in you. And I think it's so important for that 2018 draft class, Colton Miller leading the way, to show signs of improvement in year two.
Absolutely. All right, Austin Gayle, Pro Football Focus, Senior Content Strategy Analyst. Austin, thanks again, man. I'm sure we'll have you on again real soon.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks,
All right. Austin Gayle, if you don't follow him on Twitter, make sure you do. It's PFF_Austin Gayle. Although it's funny, Raider fans have a very mixed reaction to Pro Football Focus because it tends to be pretty objective, and sometimes they're negative and sometimes they're positive, or if you want to consider it negative. Anyway, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Kim Gradisher from the Imagine Dragons Taylor Robinbson Foundation about the big fundraiser they have coming up, the Battle for Vegas big softball game with current and former Raiders. You're listening to Silver and Black Today on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
CBS Sports Radio.
Hey, this is Eric Allen. You're listening to Silver and Black today.
Eric Allen. All right. Eric brings us back in. I like that. That's a new one. We're finally starting to get some of our new rejoins, as we call them in the business. Welcome back to Silver and Black today here on CBS Sports Radio. Thanks for being with us on your Sunday. Yes, it seems like a long off season, but we are also there's a lot going on in town. As you know, the Raiders and the Golden Knights are two professional teams, or three. One of the three actually have the Aviators as well. Are doing a charity event, and as they've been doing a lot of charity events around town, this one is really exciting. The Battle for Vegas charity softball game, hosted by Riley Smith, of course, from the Vegas Golden Knights, and we're going to have a game where the Golden Knights take on Pro Football Hall of Famer Marcus Allen. I think he played for a little team called the Raiders. Wow. Other Raiders involved in the game: Trent Brown, Jonathan Abram, Vontaze Burfict, Maurice Hurst, Arden Key, Josh Jacobs, and Shane Victorino, former Major League Baseball player, will actually be on their roster as well. So just a fantastic game going on. This is all to raise money for the Imagine Dragons Taylor Robinbson Foundation. And we are just excited to join with us now Kim Gradisher, Executive Director of the Imagine Dragons Taylor Robinbson Foundation. Kim, thanks for being with us here on the Silver and Black today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. So this softball, I mean, you guys, what you've put together here is phenomenal, because not only do you guys get to raise much needed money for the Taylor Robinbson Foundation, but you're getting together the current professional Major League team here in town, the Golden Knights, with the Raiders, who are moving to town. Tell us about the event and how people can attend and be involved with it.
Yeah, absolutely. It truly is a battle for Vegas. Outside of the Raiders and Golden Knights, Imagine Dragons are going to be there. Dan Reynolds is actually going to be playing, and I know you mentioned some of the other players as well, but it's going to be such a phenomenal night. Folks can go to Ticketmaster.com to purchase their tickets, or they can go to battleforvegas.com. The game is going to take place at the new Las Vegas ballpark on Saturday, June 15th. Doors open at 5, followed by a home run derby at 6 o'clock, and the game kicks off at 7. So it's going to be a wonderful family-friendly evening. It will be. And I may add to my fellow men out there who are fathers, it's right before Father's Day. So what better way? Just get your dads out there, uncles or whoever out there for the game. Now let's back up a second, Kim, because I want people to understand the amazing work you guys are doing. The Imagine Dragons, of course, Las Vegas band, and just love around the world. But I want you to talk about the Taylor Robinbson Foundation and the work you guys are doing to help children with cancer. Sure. So the Taylor Robinbson Foundation was founded 6 years ago this past March by, as you said, the band Imagine Dragons and Taylor Robinson's family. Tyler was actually a fan of the band and got to know them really well before they really took off, and they connected with them. He was dealing with a pediatric cancer diagnosis, and they followed him throughout his whole journey. So when he sadly passed away, they wanted to do something to honor his legacy. So the band got together with Tyler's family and said, listen, there's a lot of great organizations that are dedicated to research, but nobody is necessarily helping with that immediate need. Tyler, for instance, was the youngest of 6, and the bills were just piling up. Mom had to leave work because he was in the hospital more than he was out of the hospital. So what we do is we provide grants to families that are dealing with the diagnosis. We're partnered with 44 hospitals in the U.S., Canada, Mexico, and now Europe as well, with the majority of our hospitals obviously being here in Las Vegas, where we're headquartered. And that's what we do. We provide grants. We jump in and we help with bills like rent and mortgage and medical-related travel. We do fund money. So we're really rescuing these families. We partner all of our families up with a financial advisor, and we pay the bills directly so that when they're dealing with this, that they can spend the time with their little one in the hospital.
Yeah, it's amazing. And like you talked about, the stress. I mean, you have the stress of worrying about a child who's fighting for their life, and then you have all the financial, everything that comes with it. Now, I have a son who has celiac disease, which of course is not anything as serious as cancer. But when he was
Absolutely.
when he was diagnosed as a kid, Kim, he was very, very ill. That's how we got diagnosed. We were in Children's Hospital in San Diego, and we were on a floor with a lot of pediatric cancer patients. And so I saw firsthand and talked to parents and talked to the kids up there and really what they need. I mean, the financial support, absolutely, but the emotional support and all of those things that you guys do, there's so much that needs to be done to help these folks. And by having this event and the other things that you guys do, you're helping with that. Do you feel like you guys are making really good headway with folks and that people are starting to see that, hey, there is help out there, you just need to find it?
Absolutely. We partner directly with the hospital, so all social workers at all of our partner hospitals can refer families to us. But, we want to continue to get the word out there that we're here. We're here to help. We want to help. You mentioned the emotional support. That's a big part of what we do, too, outside of the financial grants. We jump in and we have support groups and family groups. And we are, we're blessed that we have the band Imagine Dragons as kind of the faces of our organizations, and they're all very involved. But we're still very grassroots in a way, which is great because we know all of our families, and it's just kind of a big community.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Now, when we talk about the softball game, also something you guys announced this week, fans can bid online for a chance to play in the game. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so if you go to the website, battleforvegas.com, and just click auction, we're really excited about this. Fans have an opportunity to bid to play in the game with all the Golden Knights players, Imagine Dragons, Raiders players. It's going to be pretty great. So I personally can't bid, but I would if I could, because it's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Yeah, we almost want to bid just to get Kelly out there to see what he would look like on a softball field. Right, Kelly?
Well, my softball team back home was sponsored by Louisville Sluggers, so I am actually a pretty good softball player.
See, Kim, we have a ringer. But I just want to tell people too, Kim, the lineups that you guys have. I mentioned the Raiders, obviously, because we're a Raiders show, but if you look at the team Riley Smith, which is the Golden Knights, you have William Karlsson, Jonathan Marchessault, Eric Holla, Derek England, Ryan Reeves, who's my guy. I think he might tackle some of the Raiders out there. That'll be fun. Shea Theodore, Brandon Smith, and then here's the wild cards. And I mean, obviously, Riley Smith has his team stacked. Jose Canseco is also on the team. Yep. Dan Reynolds, and I figure Dan, since Jose's there, Dan will bat cleanup, right? Go ahead.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I said Dan won't be batting cleanup, I assume, since Jose will be on the team.
Yep.
And then for UNLV folks like me who went to the school in the 90s and remember when the program was good, Anderson Hunt, the former UNLV point guard, will be there as well, too. So, I mean, Kim, this is great. People can come out and enjoy themselves. And just getting out to the game is supporting the cause as well. If they want to do more, and we talked about bidding for your chance to get on the field, but what other help could you guys use for the Taylor Robinson Foundation from folks here in Las Vegas?
Yeah, I mean, obviously just continuing to get the word out about the foundation. There's always sponsorship opportunities. We have our big annual event outside of this event coming up on September 6th. It's our gala at Wynn Las Vegas. It is sold out. It is sold out, which we're blessed, but there are opportunities to actually view the event. It's going to be live streamed from Imagine Dragons page. But lots of opportunities. If you go to our website, trf.org, and click volunteer, there's lots of great ways to get involved. A lot of our local schools are involved with fundraising. As a matter of fact, it's through our Team TRF program. We had about 15 Las Vegas schools throughout Clark County that were really involved, and we did penny drives and movie nights and all different things, and we're so blessed. And the Kids Helping Kids philosophy is really big to us.
Yeah, and we have, just so people know, up on our Facebook page, we said you were coming on the show today. You can actually donate to the Taylor Robinson Foundation directly to them by going to our Facebook page, and you'll see the tab where you can donate there as well and help out these kids and their families and the Taylor Robinson Foundation. Kim, thank you, and please thank you guys in the band for us for all that they're doing in our community, and we will see you out there on the 15th.
We can't wait. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Kim Gradisher from the Taylor Robinson Foundation, of course, of Imagine Dragons. Just phenomenal work they're doing in the community, guys, and that's going to be a fun game. I know all three of us are going to be out there.
Yep.
And now that we know Kelly's a masher, we might maybe we'll wiggle him in for an at-bat.
Yeah, let's bid on and get him in there.
Kelly, you going to bid?
Am I going to bid? Do I get a raise? Am I getting a raise?
There you go.
Right.
Yes.
Because
we'll do that.
I can't get outbid in this charity auction, that's not really helping out the foundation very much.
That's true. Anyway, okay, so we're going to pay some bills here. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about OTAs and the Raiders this week, news this week, including hearing from Antonio Brown and talking what we saw from a distance, at least, here in Las Vegas with the Raiders as they get closer and closer to becoming the Las Vegas Raiders. And later in the show, at the top of the hour, we're going to have Jonas Peterson from the LVGEA to talk about the economic impact of the Raiders moving here, as well as the Super Bowl. And Paul Miner will join us later. You're listening to, of course, as always, and we thank you for joining us, the team here, Kelly, Chaz, and Scott, on the Silver and Black today, here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. We'll be right back.
today at noon on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
The only way to take Silver and Black today with you is with a radio.com app. Download it today and search CBS Sports Radio 1140 in Las Vegas and listen to us anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back to Silver and Black today here on CBS Sports Radio. Again, reminder from our new sponsor, which we are just joyed to bring on board, Eat, Drink, and Bet. Join us at the Moneyline Sports Bar and book at Park MGM to watch the NBA Finals and NHL Stanley Cup Finals. Yes, there is no Las Vegas team in the finals. There are dozens of TVs, great food, and different drink and beer specials for every single game. That's Moneyline Sports Bar and book at Park MGM. And a reminder for those of you watching on the simulcast, we are giving away a $25 gift certificate for food and beverage to Moneyline as well in the 9 o'clock hour. So make sure you don't miss that for your chance to win. We're going to talk about OTAs. We have our caller-in-chief on the line, and we don't want to make him wait because he's a damn good dude and a great Raider fan, and we want to bring him on. It's Wally. Wally, how you doing this morning, buddy?
What's up, gentlemen?
Oh, just doing the do, man. How you doing? How was your sailing? You were sailing this week, right?
Oh, dude, it was a blast, man. Sailed a 40-foot Catalina in San Diego.
Oh, you can't beat that.
Nice.
One of the passengers on the boat got seasick, and of course they decided they wanted to sit on the front of the boat. So the captain had to go rescue him. So I got to sail the boat for like an hour. That was pretty chill.
Gotta love that. All right, man. So what about the Raiders? What do you think of the Incognito signing?
Dude, if he can ball, man, and he behaves himself, I'm willing to give him a shot.
Yeah.
You know, I just hope he doesn't turn out to be a cancer like Lynch. But I just wanted to say I'm proud of your family success lately in the education realm. I'm glad they took after your wife and not you.
I appreciate that very much, my man. Yeah, it's
I'm not saying or anything, but
it's been a busy month on that front for me. Son, daughter both graduate. Little guy took his first communion, so it's been crazy. And that's why doing this and talking to folks like you, talking about the Raiders is a nice aside to it. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Incognito. And Wally, thanks for your call, man. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother.
All right, take care.
Wally.
But no, I mean, I think if you look at what happened with OTAs this week, guys, we heard he doesn't talk to the media very often. But Antonio Brown talked to the media, and one of the questions that came up was around playing for John Gruden. Of course, him coming over and with all the quote-unquote issues that were in Pittsburgh, whose fault they were, it's certainly starting to look more and more like it was a lot of Ben Roethlisberger, but that's just my perspective. It sounds like, though, that he's enjoying the change of scenery and that it's doing him some good. Here's what Brown had to say about playing for John Gruden. Yes, it was very vocal.
I was excited
There we
every
go.
day. I thought he'll slow it down in OTAs and off-season training, but he's not stopping. You know, high energy, a lot of passion. He loves the game tremendously, and it's never a dull moment in the meetings.
Well, there you go.
That's AB talking about Coach Gruden.
Yeah, yes. So sorry for that technical glitch there. But yes, so guys, I mean, Brown talking about how Gruden brings the energy and he's not letting up. That's not much of a surprise, but it certainly is. When you get to hear from Antonio Brown, you kind of savor the moment because he doesn't talk. Ray Fittipaldi from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette we had on several months ago when this all happened said that he's not great with the media. So this might be the last time we hear him talk for quite a bit.
Yeah, and it's like anything. You're going to have guys on your team that are going to be kind of the media go-tos and everything like that. And I don't think anybody's going to care if he's doing media or anything as long as he's out there playing football.
Yeah, if he's catching touchdowns, especially with great frequency, I don't think so either. But I don't know. I think you have to be a fan of a player for what they do on the field. If they do great things off the field too, that's a bonus, right, Chaz? I mean, it's just you want him to do well on the field. Who cares what he does off?
Yeah,
as long as it's not.
We didn't really get to hear much of the interview, but I listened to it a couple of times, and you really do get an overall sense that he is really happy to be a Raider. Like, he's happy to be there, and you can read between the lines. I know you don't think you're not getting much from him, but he talked about not getting ahead of himself, and this is just the beginning of phase 1 of the OTAs. But you can hear the respect in his voice when he talks about Coach Gruden, and you can hear his fondness for Derek Carr. And they talk about they've already got a relationship going, they've already got synergy working, and they're out there having a great time. And this is just the beginning. I think it's just great that he's there. You look at the OBJ situation, and he hasn't been there. And I know it's voluntary, but I'm encouraged by the fact
no doubt
that he's there.
Well, and the other thing is too is they also asked him about that young receiving core, right? And how he was going to step up and lead that, because that's one of the things that you need when you bring in a guy making that much money with that experience and that talent, because Antonio Brown, to me, top 2 receiver in the game. You need him to step up and be that leader amongst those young guys too. And here's what Brown had to say about that.
Been putting some good finishes on tape, challenging the group, and I think it's contagious for the young guys to see the level of passion, the level of finish in regards to how I bring to the field, and we got to continue to inspire each other as a whole while we out here.
Well, there you go. Again, a man, a few words, and we didn't get that. We didn't get that piece in. But clearly, Kelly, this is a guy who understands that they need him to lead these young guys. How do you feel he's going to do there?
Well, he's going to be that. He's not going to be that rah guy. These young guys are going to see what a real work ethic is and see what it takes to be, because he's the on the field guy. He's not. Well, I mean, I don't think he doesn't seem like he's like the locker room speech guy, but he's here's what you do.
Lead by example.
Yeah, because I mean, you see all the stuff on Instagram and everything like that. Even if he's not at an OTA or something, he's working out. The last thing you have to worry about is him not coming into shape, not doing his work, because that's his whole thing has been the work ethic, and that's the guys are going to see that. I'm like, okay, if this is where we want to get to, we have to emulate this.
Just his presence on the field, that's going to open up a lot of opportunities for other guys. These guys need to step up and be ready.
They do, and but clearly hearing from him this week was interesting. What else? Anything stick out for you guys around OTAs so far? I mean, I know we're hearing a lot. We're hearing, of course, about Carr, about Brown, about Jacobs, who's held out a little bit. He had I think it was a hamstring tweak or whatever they want to call it. But I actually like the fact that there hasn't been a ton of news out of OTAs, that it's just kind of standard procedure. They're just getting workouts done, and that we're not hearing anything too positive that's going to get people's expectations out of whack, or too negative that somebody's hurt or causing issues.
Yeah, basically the only time you hear about a big news in OTAs is it's bad.
Right.
So that's the whole thing. It's like you kind of want a quiet OTA to go by where you don't hear anything.
Exactly.
And that's like the best situation.
Yep.
All right. Well, we have finished the first hour. Oh, my gosh, it's gone by quickly. We're going to step aside and pay some bills. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Jonas Peterson. He is the CEO, president of the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance. He's going to tell us how the Super Bowl and the Raiders coming to town could generate over $1 billion in the next several years. Whew, not bad for a $750 million investment. You're listening to The Silver and Black today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. We'll be back.
You found the most in-depth coverage of the Silver and Black. The nation and the league arrive in Las Vegas in 2020. Live from the CBS Sports Radio 1140 studios, it's Silver and Black Today. Join the conversation by calling 702-889-5978. And now, here's your host, Scott Gobranson.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Las Vegas' only all-Raider radio show. We've been doing it for over a year now. Yes, we started 3 years in advance or 2 years in advance of the Raiders coming to Las Vegas because that's how we are.
Why not?
That's right. Why not?
We're Raider fans.
Ask why not. All right. We are now going to go out on the Newsmaker line and talk about, when the stadium was funded through SB1 here in Nevada and the hotel tax established to pay for the Raiders' new stadium in our fair city, there were people opposed to it. And you understand that. People have differences of opinion and all of that. But a lot of people said that it wasn't going to be worth the money. It wouldn't be worth the $750 million that we were going to outlay through the tax and through the money there. But most of us who've lived in other areas where you've seen stadiums go up, for me, it was in San Diego. I grew up in San Diego, saw Petco Park as a Padres season ticket holder built and the impact it's had on the East Village in downtown San Diego. I had a different perspective on it. And now we are talking to Jonas Peterson, who's the CEO president of the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance. Jonas, thanks for joining us on your Sunday.
Hey, no, thanks for having me.
Okay, so first of all, let's before we get into the stadium stuff, I want people to understand what the LVGEA does before we get into stadium talk. Tell them a little bit about LVGEA.
Yeah, so we're the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance. We're the regional development authority for all of southern Nevada, basically Clark County. We work to attract, retain, and expand companies. It's all about job creation, jobs, capital investment, strengthening our economy, building a stronger community.
Awesome. That's put very succinct and easy for folks to understand. I appreciate that very much. Now, Jonas, when we talk about the impact of the stadium, the one thing that triggered this, and you and I have talked before about this, was that you wrote a post on your website there, a story about how the Super Bowl coming to Las Vegas, which everyone feels like is going to happen probably as early as 2025, that it could generate $1 billion of economic impact. Talk about that number, how we get to that number, and also what is meant by economic impact.
Right. So I think you said it well. With the Raiders coming, new stadium, just kind of, advancing out of the ground right before our very eyes, most people believe we'll have a chance to host a Super Bowl. Maybe 2025, hopefully 2025. When that happens, and it will, I think our region is uniquely positioned to deliver the biggest, baddest Super Bowl celebration on the planet. This one event will generate a massive economic impact for Southern Nevada, likely approaching $1 billion. How do you get to that figure? What's included? Well, it's all about visitor spending. Hotel rooms, retail sales, transportation, temporary jobs, media spending, and it generates a lot of new taxes along the way. Much of this is new money coming from outside of Nevada and deposited here in southern Nevada. So it's new money to our economy. Not only that, right? Not only do we get the economic benefits directly, but from a Super Bowl, you get tremendous branding and marketing opportunities. That doesn't even go into the $1 billion of economic impact we're forecasting, but it's part of this much larger strategy for Southern Nevada, for Vegas. When we say we're becoming the sports and entertainment capital of the world, hosting a Super Bowl really helps give that claim some grounding.
Go ahead, Chaz.
Hey, Jonas. It's Chaz here. The other thing we're not talking about is next year, Las Vegas hosting the NFL draft. Now, last year they talked about Nashville. They had 100,000 plus people out in the streets. I imagine Las Vegas will have twice that many. What about the impact on just hosting the draft next year?
We haven't run the numbers on that specific event, but yeah, you got two of the largest. Draft and then potentially a Super Bowl down the road. They're great, great celebrations. Each of them deliver a significant economic impact. And Vegas does it better than just about anywhere else.
Oh, yeah.
Again, we're talking to Jonas Peterson. He's the CEO of the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance. And if we look at past Super Bowls, Jonas, you look at Phoenix in 2015, $719 million economic impact. Minneapolis just last year, $450 million. And then you add in that layer with Las Vegas. And I think what people forget about with this is that it's not just the Super Bowl, the game itself, and the events that week, really. It's what you call the kind of the loading in as folks get ready. And this has impact, too, for even small local businesses because of all of the needs that an event of that size and magnitude require, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it goes, this is a week plus long celebration, right, that has impacts and ripple effects throughout the community. And you raised a great point. Vegas just does sporting events differently. We already generate a massive economic impact around Super Bowl weekends. It's around $350 million when we have the Super Bowl, not without even hosting the event.
Right.
When Minneapolis, this is one of my favorite stats. Minneapolis hosted Super Bowl 2018. Right, they brought in about 125,000 visitors for that whole Super Bowl-related experience. That same year, Vegas brought in 300,000 plus visitors for Super Bowl activities. We didn't even host the event.
Amazing.
So when you talk about Phoenix with a $700 million impact, you add on what we're already doing for a Super Bowl, and you can see how we get to that billion-dollar figure relatively easily.
Yeah, Jonas Peterson again from the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance. Now let's talk about just the fact the Raiders moving to Las Vegas. Of course, they're going to be playing in the stadium, which we're talking about hosting a Super Bowl in 2025. But what have you seen already? Because it's funny when I talk to people, and obviously they know about the show and the website we have around the Raiders, Silver and Black today. But they ask me, well, geez, people, is it going to make a big deal? Are people going to get behind the team? From an economic standpoint, what changes have you already seen with the Raiders still being, 10, 12 months out from even moving here?
Right. So it's already having a massive economic impact. So construction alone. So, we're talking about a Super Bowl down the road, 2025. Let's not forget, you raise a great point. What's happening right now, the Raiders are investing in Southern Nevada in a massive way, right? Is around 10,000 jobs, right?
Wow.
Wages that come with those jobs. It's $1 billion direct economic output from the whole construction process. All up. But that is, it's massive.
Yeah.
Those small business related, there's a whole buyer supply work. There's an impact on real estate values above and beyond that, even home prices.
And we're having some problems with Jonas's cell phone connection there, so we'll try to get him back on the phone there. But clearly, guys, the Raiders coming to Las Vegas, there's people who are doubtful about the impact scam, and he's already saying it's having and this is the guy who's in charge of going out and getting businesses to move to Las Vegas.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with the whole Super Bowl talk if you start getting people that are like, well, we don't need to host the Super Bowl because we're already have such a big atmosphere and everything around here, because everybody knows that if the NFL, they've got a list of demands they want from every city, all the free hotel rooms, all the free stuff like that. If you get any kind of kickback, we're like, well, we don't have to have this. It'd be interesting to see if you see any of that, because Super Bowl is a huge weekend anyway. Granted, who would not want a Super Bowl?
All right, and we have Jonas back here, and Jonas, we got most of what you said there about the impact the Raiders moving to Las Vegas has even on home prices. When you're talking to folks and businesses about coming to Las Vegas and either moving here or starting a business here, is it one of the things that they mention?
So much so, yeah. The NFL is a conversation that everybody can relate to. There is a connection between becoming a globally recognized city and having an NFL team, and so it's a conversation starter. It's a branding opportunity. It's a coming of age for our community. All the above, but incoming companies definitely talk about it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I get a lot of, well, they're not going to be as beloved as the Golden Knights because the Golden Knights were born here. But clearly, Jonas, there's room for both and the impact beyond construction. Even look at the project in Henderson, right, with the team headquarters as well. So we're seeing it not just at the stadium location, but we're seeing the imprint that the Raiders are having in our community grow. And it's something that I think that people didn't realize when the NFL is coming to Las Vegas that it was going to have such an impact so quickly. But we appreciate you spending the time and explaining it to us here on Silver and Black today. Thanks, Jonas. We appreciate the time.
Hey, thank you.
All right. Jonas Peterson from the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance. For those folks who are skeptical that the Raiders coming to Las Vegas would have an impact. So you're, again, the number, $750 million for the stadium of public money, quote-unquote public money, which is hotel tax. If you bring one Super Bowl, that's $1 billion impact. Guess what? What happened?
It's paid for.
It's paid for, right, in essence. And that's just the Super Bowl. That doesn't include what the Raiders are doing and what they're going to be doing here in the community and in coming seasons as the hometown team.
And you say public money, but it's not coming out of the public money. That's the whole hang-up that I get about this. Everybody's like, well, they could have spent that money. Well, yeah, but they could have had this tax at any point. They didn't do it. This was a tax that was just put in for the stadium that we're not paying for.
Right, and it's the tourism fund, don't forget.
Yeah.
So the money that's going there is supposed to be spent on tourism, and that's what this will do, because not only will you get the Super Bowl and will you have Raider games 10 a year, but you're going to have concerts, you're going to have international soccer games, you're going to have college football games. All right, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we're going to visit with our good friend Paul Miner, get an update on his weight loss journaling and a great charitable venture that he's involved in. You're listening to the Silver and Black today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
This is Tony Gradisher. Join me at Moneyline Sports Bar and Book at Park MGM for the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs and NBA Finals. Every game is televised live on dozens of TVs. Enjoy great food, beer, and drink specials during each game. Eat, drink, and bet. The best place to watch NBA and NHL postseason is Moneyline Sports Bar and Book at Park MGM.
Radio.com presents OBC 2019. Back-to-back nights at the Chelsea, inside the Cosmopolitan. Night 2, Friday, June 7th, starring Catfish and the Bottlemen. And ex-ambassadors with Kate Flay, Grandson, and Meg Myers. This is an all-ages show. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. OBC 2019. Brought to you by the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas.
Sign up today for a new William Hill mobile sports account and you can earn up to a $50 bonus. The William Hill mobile sports app allows you to bet on the go from anywhere in Nevada. With the largest wagering menu, the mobile sports app features live in-play betting on football, baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer, and tennis. You can fund your mobile sports account at over 350 locations, including PT's, Sierra Gold, SG Bar, Sean Patrick's Pubs, and 7-Eleven throughout Nevada. For more information, visit WilliamHill.us. That's WilliamHill.us. William Hill, the home of betting.
If you need to sell your house,
Talk to Aaron Taylor.
you want to sell it fast and get the most cash, talk to Aaron Taylor.
The real estate guy.
Cash advance when you list your home with the real estate guy. Yes, I'll say it again. When you sell your home with Aaron Taylor, the real estate guy, we will give you a cash advance if needed. For relocation, vacation, pay bills, catch-up payments, family reunions, whatever you want it for. We put our money where our mouth is. We also buy homes giving our sellers cash in 5 days. We always get the most money possible for our traditional sales. So give us a call and meet with me today. Experience the value of the real estate guy. Over 5,000 homes sold, over 24 years of experience. Call 702-310-6683. That's 702-310-MOVE. 702-310-6683. Powered by eXp Realty. Call for details.
Talk to Aaron Taylor.
The real estate guy.
Las Vegans, listen up. Half Price Furniture is a place for the best deals on furniture and mattresses for half the price. You get the top brands and styles at half price. Save hundreds on sofas, sectionals, bedrooms, and more. And always free delivery. Low on cash? Half Price Furniture can finance almost anyone for just $5 down. Yes, $5 down and no credit needed. Save big at Half Price Furniture with 5 locations all over town for your convenience. Visit halfpricefurnituresstore.com for the store near you. Half
it all.
Triple-digit temperatures mean it's pool and lake season. This is Las Vegas Fire Chief William McDonald reminding you to stay safe around water at all times with a few helpful tips for the season. Select a designated diver, someone to post watch over everyone having fun at the pool to ensure that there's always someone on the lookout. Together, we can make this a summer of safety. Brought to you by these fine sponsors.
City of Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, Dignity Health, St. Rose Dominican Hospitals, and Southern Nevada Toyota dealers.
The Dodgers take on the Phillies today at noon on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
This is Silver and Black Today, live on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Indeed. Welcome back to Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140 from the city of Las Vegas. That's right. The future home of your Raiders.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we are excited to do one thing before we talk to our very special in-studio guest, and that is, I talked about earlier, our new sponsor, Moneyline Sports Bar and Book over at Park MGM. This one is a certificate for $25 in food and beverage at Moneyline for this Wednesday's NBA Finals game. Is that one at Jurassic Park? I think that's what they're calling the arena in Toronto, which is actually a pretty good nickname. Yep. Anyway, so that's June 5th, Wednesday. This is good just for that day, $25. So you can go watch the game at Moneyline. You have to be a resident of Clark County. So for those of you out of town, we can't do it because you have to pick this up here at the station. What we're going to do is caller number 4, Derek Carr. Yeah. Caller number 4. By the way, for people watching, I have my new Derek Carr Funko. He's got a beard. I don't remember him wearing a beard. Do you?
He had a cool beard.
He's got. Okay, that's what it was. So anyway, we are giving away $25. Caller number 4, 702-889-5978. 702-889-5978. Caller 4 gets $25 to our great sponsors over at Moneyline. A great spot if you have not been there. All right. Now, in studio with us today is one of our favorite members of Raider Nation, who I know everybody out there is really familiar with, and that is Mr. Paul Miner. Yeah. And if you're familiar with Paul, Paul has been on an amazing journey that he's decided to share with everyone, and that is losing weight. So we've been keeping up with it. We had him as a guest over the phone several weeks ago, but when we had him in the studio, because we want to get an update on where he's at with that, but we also want to talk about a great charitable cause that he's behind and supporting now. Paul, welcome to Silver and Black Today here in the studio, my man.
Hey, thanks for having me. I love being here. It's great.
It's awesome. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's do one thing first, Paul, and that is everybody. I know a lot of our listeners follow you and pay attention to what's going on. But tell us where you're at. Tell us where you started, first of all, with your weight loss journey, and how many weeks it's been and where you're at.
So I started on February 8th at 4:51.
Boy, you know the hour. That's awesome, dude. No, that's great.
Yeah, it was. That was tough. But now I believe, let's see, on Memorial Day I weighed, and I was at 399, which was my first milestone goal was to get to 399, get out of the 400s. That was my goal. Last time I was on here, I was 40 pounds down. Now I'm 52 pounds down.
Oh, so yeah. Let's give Paul a round of applause, man. That's just fantastic, dude. And, you know, the thing about it is you're only 18 years old.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you were prompted to do this because you had health issues and you just wanted to get there. And you posted yesterday, you said, hey, when I grew up, I was heavy. Yeah. And I relate to that, too, because I went through those periods as well where I started to get heavy, and then I got married and had kids, and the whole thing happened, and I just started not paying attention. But for you and getting here, talk about what it's been like with the support you've gotten from Raider Nation.
Yeah, so like I said, when I've been heavy since I was a kid, probably elementary is when things started to get big. But no, it's been really nice. It's crazy how supportive Raider Nation's been. I remember when I started, it was never to be all over social media. It was to keep track of myself and to help people that end up coming along while I was doing it. And, Raider Nation, I always joked, we were always talking about Raider football. And so they ended up, I was surprised how much they cared about the journey, not just me talking about Raider football.
Right.
So it was really surprising. You know, there's a lot of good people out there, you know, that are like helping support me. And man, I have people talk to me every day. There's some really good, Gabby, she's been really cool. Flawed King, I talk to him all the time. Angel, he's been a really good guy. I talk to him all the time. It's just crazy how awesome Raider Nation has been. You know, they're always super supportive. You know, it's just the whole atmosphere. You know, people always look at social media as, you know, oh, everyone talks crap on everybody,
Right,
but
right.
there's a different side of it. It's just harder to find because there's not as many positive people out there as there are negative. And that's kind of like what we're trying to change. Well, I'm trying to change now that I have a bigger platform. Because last time I was on here, I believe I was at like 2,000 followers. I'm at like 21,000 now on Twitter. And I'm just
21,000.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's crazy. Like if you had asked me 2 years ago, I said, "Wow, what?" That would have been like I wouldn't have believed it. But now I'm trying to help that, and I started my own like hashtag. I want other people to do. It's build to inspire. So it's the build and then the number 2. And then inspire, and like just for people to post their own stuff so everyone can help support each other. So it's not just everyone supports me, because I mean it's great, I love it if everyone supports me, but I want everyone else to get some support as well. Like that's important to me.
You talk about the positive reinformation from all the Raider fans. You're just a positive person already. I wonder, you know, I know you started this because of your own health concerns, but do you have an inspiration? Was there somebody or something that?
Oh yeah, I've already tweeted at him. It's my man Possible Pat. He's like, so you know, like I talked to my friend Big Mike. And his hero is Kobe Bryant. I'm like, well, this dude Possible Pat's my Kobe Bryant. So I'm like, he's a legend. Like that man, he lost like 300 something pounds. Like. Wow. He lost like 100 pounds in 3 months.
Amazing.
Like he was killing it.
Wow.
Like that dude, like I remember, so I tried to lose weight a little bit like around like October and all that stuff. I tried, and you know, I've been trying to lose weight my whole life. Like you go to the gym a few times and then you don't go back.
Right.
And so in February I went back. I have a trainer over at LVAC, Erica Eccles. It's over on Eastern. And I remember I went there and we weighed because we did the whole BMI and all that. And I was 451. I'm like, wow, dang, that's not good. And so I remember I was like, I need to start working on this quick. And so we started working. She showed me his video as like inspiration to like watch this guy. Yeah. And I watched it and I was like, wow, like that's crazy. I'm like, this dude is awesome. I want to. You know, I decided, you know, I'm going to try and lose 100 pounds in 3 months. I decided it wasn't for me. That was a little too.
That's extreme.
Yeah, it's a little extreme.
I was going to say, yeah, that's borderline unhealthy if you don't do that correctly.
Yeah, he did it correctly, but it's like, I was going to do that, and then I was like, no, that's not for me. I'd rather do it slow, healthy, and keep the lifestyle changes.
Well, and Paul, I have to tell you, man, for a guy of your age at 18 years old, to have the positive mindset that you have and the mindset you do. And look, it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're losing weight, you're trying to get a new job, whatever it is, you're going to have setbacks. You're going to have obstacles to break through. And you share those obstacles. And I got to tell you, man, I can see you reaching people 3 times your age, right? You know, who see what you're doing. You post your workouts, you post all this stuff, and it's just phenomenal. And I just want to give you all the credit in the world because you deserve it. And we're there with you, too. Now, the other thing we have you on, I want to get to as well, and again, follow Paul, and you'll see that. We'll link everything in the show notes after the show. But you're also Cure for the Kids here in Las Vegas, childhood cancer. We had, of course, Kim Gradisher from the Taylor Robinbson Foundation, Imagine Dragons, on earlier. But you, too, are also doing something, and you're challenging Raider Nation along. Tell us about that.
So Cure for the Kids is the only nonprofit children's pediatric center in the state of Nevada. So they help patients that can't afford treatment, or you know, so because the last things that the kids and the families need to worry about when they're told, hey, your kid has a life-threatening disease is, oh, how am I going to pay for that? They need to work, you know, it shouldn't be that. And it's that way in a lot of places, which is horrible. There they take care of everybody, you know, they make sure no child is turned away. They do a lot of great things for all of them. And like, it's just awesome to see. They've helped a lot of kids, you know, they truly genuinely care about the kids, which is really nice to see. Like, you know.
Yeah. And so you're challenging folks. Now tell them how, and again, we'll link all of this as well on our show notes and pardon me, in our social media, but tell people how they get involved with your challenge.
Okay, so me, Big Mike, Darian Johnson, and the Silver Show podcast, we started up a little raffle that people can put money into, buy tickets. So with how much money you spend is how many tickets you get. We have some prizes like an Xbox. We got some cleats signed from Keith Smith. We have some cleats signed from Jonathan Holland, who's actually helping me with my meal plan and my workout plans. We have some Chris Angel tickets. I went down over to Planet Hollywood. So they're like row F, and they're like some of the best. They're some of the best seats you could get. So like if you're trying to go to a Chris Angel show, enter this raffle because like it's awesome. The tickets. We have a pair of Beats headphones. We've gotten a lot of good prizes, and it's at go.rallyup.com/cure for the kids, but with the number 4 instead of like 4.
Right.
So
right, no, that's killer, man. I mean, what you guys are doing is fantastic, and we're going to help you with it. We're going to make a donation as well, and we have some other things we're working on, you and I, to help with it. That's going to be fantastic. But make sure you check out Cure for Kids. We link to their Twitter, and we'll link to the website as well. But Paul, I mean, I'm telling you, man, you got to keep going. What you're doing, it's phenomenal. It's incredibly motivating for me, for everyone who's paying attention, and it's just so nice. And it goes to show you too, it's never too late. It's never too hard. It's going to be hard. The journey's long and it's hard. But if you have people there with you that can pick you up when you're down and you can ask for help, it makes the world a difference, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, everything in life that you do that's worth achieving is hard. I've already done like goals like that, like I said on Twitter actually right before I got in here, 2 years ago, I was a sophomore. I ended up graduating my junior year, but I was a sophomore and I had like a 1.1 GPA and like I had 6 credits in total. Because I didn't go to school, I didn't care about anything. It's not because I wasn't smart, because I'm not trying to say I'm a genius, but I have a little bit of intelligence, and I always passed my classes when I went. And once I stopped playing football, I just didn't care. I just wanted to hang out with friends. I just wanted to goof off, play games, whatever. And I never went. And I remember my junior year, I ended up getting to, I think it was a 3.2, and I got around 24 credits, and I ended up graduating a year early. And then right after that, now I'm starting my weight loss journey. It's like anything is possible. And, a lot of people, they live in what other people think about them.
Yes, especially today.
Exactly.
With social media, like you said.
Exactly. And like everybody I went to school with was like, man, Paul, you aren't going to do this. You aren't going to do this. And I live with that. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. They're right. No, now I'm doing it.
Now you're doing it. And you're doing it on a stage, which is remarkable. But, dude, congratulations so far. We know you're going to get where you want to be, and we're going to help you with it. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it as always.
All right. We're going to step aside. When we come back, Kelly's Corner. Again, thanks to Paul Miner for coming in. Make sure you check out the links to help him raise money for childhood cancer and track his weight loss journey. You're listening to the Silver and Black today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
X1075.
Sports Radio.
Hey, this is Rodney Hudson. You're listening to Silver and Black today.
My man, Rodney Hudson.
Yes.
The anchor. Anchor. Anchor.
We need Rodney.
I'm just trying to make Kelly crack up by
try harder,
contorting my face a little bit as people who are watching our stream. By the way, we had a winner, we thought, for the Moneyline $25 free food and beverage comp. But again, and you have to be a resident of Clark County. We have so many listeners outside the market that we couldn't give it to the person who won it. So in Las Vegas, if you're out there, $25 now to the first caller, 702-889-5978. 5978. That is for $25 NBA Finals game on Wednesday at the Moneyline Sports Bar and Book, our new sponsor here on Silver and Black today. So, guys,
come on, Wally, call in.
It's time for Kelly's Corner.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Kelly's Corner. We tried to get a theme, but I forgot it. It's Kelly's Heroes, the movie. People are out there saying, if you're under 50, you probably don't know what Kelly's Heroes is. But anyway, Kelly, you have an interesting subject today, or at least I think it's interesting.
Well, I've got two. One of them I'm just going to do real quick, and that's I'm just got to call out the National Spelling Bee for a second.
Oh, boy.
You have 8 winners in a contest, you know. For one, obviously, Scripps doesn't want that because it cost them $400,000 in scholarships instead of $50,000.
Yep.
Have a contingency to where if something like this happens, you go a second day. You know, the kids were spelling for 14 hours, so I kind of understand at midnight on the East Coast when you cut this off when they started at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So I can't really kill them too much.
No.
But tell everybody, listen, this may go a day or two. We're going to have one winner. Because that's what you do in a contest. You go until there's one winner.
I love when the one kid got up and he said, do you know what time it is?
Yeah, did he really? Yeah, I missed that one. That's awesome.
He asked the judges.
But like you're talking about with the replay, which you've talked about on the corner here a couple times over the last couple weeks because of football, but then also, why am I forgetting? Oh, my God, senior moment. Anyway, but with that, get it right. And this bothers me from the perspective of there has to be, we are Americans, right? This is why, and I know people are going to explode on me in this. I get a lot of hate.
Yep.
This is why soccer will never be the primary sport in the United States because Americans like winners and losers. It's a clear delineation. You win or you lose. Because you lose doesn't make you a loser long term. It just means you got to try harder, you got to do better, you got to train longer, whatever it may be. Okay, that's why we play. We play to win games. That's why that 0-0 tie is not something Americans will ever love. It just doesn't happen. And by the way, when you have the Masters, or you're going to the U.S. Open here soon, Chaz.
That's right.
If they're tied, they don't just say, "Oh, well, there's 2 of us." We win, right?
Playoffs.
Why should it be any different for kids? Aren't we setting a bad example, Kelly, for kids to say, like, oh, well, you know what? Nobody won. We're just going to have 8 winners.
Yeah, and that's kind of my whole thing. It's like if those 8 kids go to a job interview in 20 years and they all kill their job interview, they're not magically going to have 8 jobs open now. No, there's going to be one person, you know? And they need to realize that sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But
yeah, but these are, they're kids, so I understand why they got to cut it short, man. They can't have kids.
Well, no, and that's what I'm saying. Be like, hey, guess what? You get another day in Washington, D.C., guys. You're going to be, and you don't have to put it on ESPN again like the spelling bee. You have ESPN Plus. You can throw it on there.
The Ocho.
People are paying $4.99 a month for that. You can give them some content.
Well, yeah, and again, I have 5 kids, right? So I've seen what's happening in schools. I don't like this thing where everyone has to be a winner. There's a participation trophy and all this stuff. It's like it sets an unrealistic expectation because guess what? If I go get a job and I'm in a sales job and I don't sell enough, you know what happens? I get fired.
Gets that job.
Somebody else gets the job. And by the way, even if I am in sales or doesn't matter what you do, if I'm not the best, I'm not going to win that award. I'm not going to get that bonus. They don't just say, oh, well, you know what? You tried. You tried. So here's an extra $5,000. No, they don't do that. And to me, the spelling bee is about excellence. Give them some rest and let them come back and play it off.
Yep.
Anyway, so Kelly, I like the subject. I know it's not Raider football, but it relates to competitiveness. And even with spelling bees, it's competitive.
Yeah. And I've got another real quick one that I thought was interesting talking to a friend of mine the other day. And it something you said earlier in the show kind of brought it up. When we were talking about the celebrity softball game, you mentioned the 3 professional teams in town, and you went Knights, Aviators, and the Raiders. You forgot the WNBA Aces. They are a professional team.
Yes.
I have a buddy of mine who's gambles for a living, loves betting the WNBA. And
sorry,
that's a gambler right there.
Well, and if you think about it, because nobody's really putting that much effort into it, because you're only getting like 300, 500 a game max around town.
The lines aren't that sharp.
Exactly. So that's why he likes it. And he asked me the other day in conversation, he's like, because the Aces are the favorite to win the WNBA championship in some of the sports books around town. And he said, if they win the championship, will Las Vegas embrace that as the first professional championship in town?
Absolutely.
It's something I had never thought of.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've watched one WNBA game, and that's back when I was living in Indiana, the first season, the Indiana Fever, I believe.
Right.
We went to a game.
The Fever.
We got free tickets. We went to a game.
Boom.
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 Okay, there's something there. I'm missing it.
Fever. It's the song Fever. Anyway, go ahead.
Gotcha.
So
I don't watch
won?
the WNBA.
Yeah, right.
I don't really watch the NBA either. I'm just not into
what the
professional
heck, Kelly?
basketball. I like
Get
the
it together.
college sports. But will this town say if they win the championship, when the Raiders get here with the Knights out here, will people sit there and say, good point. Yeah, will they have a parade? Will they embrace that as the first championship for our city?
And I will say yes. You know
I'll say
why?
yes.
Even though I don't think all that many people are into the WNBA. And Chaz, you can talk about this too because you used to work in the NBA in a minute. But to me, it's all about the fanboy. If you win in this town, people are going to get on board. And I've already seen it. They made the trade, and suddenly everybody's like, oh, the Aces, because guess what?
Who'd they
it's
trade
the shiny
for?
object. I forgot her name.
It's
the shiny object.
That's kind of my point right there.
No, you have to listen.
Liz
You
is
have
one of the
to-
best players of the WNBA.
Liz, thank you.
And no one knows.
Cambridge.
Yeah,
Cambridge.
and no one knows her name.
Liz Cambridge. Now, if you want to talk WNBA, you got to listen to Saturday Sports Beat with Tony Cardasco on Saturdays from 8 to 10. That's where they talk about the WNBA. But, Kelly, that if you see and this is where Las Vegas, if you're losing, it's a tough town. If you're winning, it's like having a diamond ring. People,
like anywhere.
People want, I don't know if it's like anywhere.
I think it's a little.
Anywhere. If you're winning anywhere.
That's true.
Yeah, but it's more it's more one or the other, I think, in Las Vegas. It is a huge.
Because everybody's from somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So they're looking for something to join. And now what you're going to have is you're going to have all these people, and good for the Aces. I got no problem with that. But now you have all these people, suddenly they're talking about the Aces, where last year they didn't even know who they were. And it's just because it's bubbled up in the news. We live in a society where if you're seeing stuff on social media and you're a joiner, you jump in. It's of interest. I mean, I still don't think Game of Thrones is that good. I finally watched a couple episodes, but you all love it. I guess I'm an idiot.
No, I'm saying you all. I watched season 1. I'm like, I'm out.
Exactly.
It's just
See,
ain't my thing.
I went to about 6 or 8 Aces games last year, and they get a good crowd. They've already got a good following, and it's great. The WNBA is great. I worked with the Sparks for a couple of years with Johnny Buss over there, and they won championships. And you can't say it's the first championship in LA, obviously. So it would be a different story if they were the first ones to win a championship for the city of Las Vegas in a professional sport. But I love that it empowers the women, and it's great for the community. And they do get a good crowd over there, and it's nice that they're finally getting some recognition. And I think the city would embrace it as a championship, as a first professional.
Yeah. I still say that Larry Johnson UNLV team had a higher payroll than the WNBA.
Hey, now
we get Grandmama to play for the Aces.
Come on, man. All right. Anyway, so I think the fanboy / I won't call them fangirls because I think it's the only women's professional team in town, and so I think that's a genuine like. But I think that there are some of the now again. My whole den is framed with Golden Knights posters. I love the Golden Knights, so when I say this, I want to just preface that. But this town is filled with cultists who love the Golden Knights so much, and they have nothing to do right now. So now they're on board with the Aces because there's nothing going on, and it's a shiny object that they can attach to.
I just thought it was a great question because, I mean, it's something I'd never even considered.
No, you're right. It's a great question.
And when he brought it up, it was like, oh, God, wow, that's a good question.
Yeah,
it is. And you know what? And if they do, I love Bill Lambier, and everything I've heard from the organization has been fantastic. So I wish them the best, and I hope they do win it. I mean, if they win it, it will be Las Vegas's first Major League championship, and great for them.
Yep.
So anyway, all right. We are up to another break here. Also, we did get our winner. Who's our winner, by the way? Nick Lozano from Las Vegas.
From East Okie, from East.
Well, okay, I won't tell you what street. You just
give him his address.
East side.
David Stepanian, our engineer, is telling me his address on the air. No, he's not. But no, thank you. Thank you for calling in. He's won the $25, so he's going to be able to go watch the game with our friends at Moneyline Sports Bar and Book over at Park MGM. So we're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll finish out the show with some preview of next week's show, which you're not going to want to miss. Pretty cool stuff coming up, as well as your calls, 702-889-5978. You're listening to the Silver and Black today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
This is Tony Cardasco.
The Dodgers take on the Phillies today at noon on CBS Sports Radio, 1140.
You found the most in-depth coverage of the Silver and Black. This is Silver and Black Today, live on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Here's your host, Scott Gobranson.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the home stretch here on Silver and Black Today on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Thanks for joining us. Also, check out the website, silverandblacktoday.com. It is summer, so we've been taking a little low time. You know, websites out there will do stories on everything. We tend to take a little bit of a break because we're just not going to produce stuff to produce it. But I think the last piece up there is on Kelly's point about the draft, the changing the draft. So interesting stuff. But we appreciate you guys being here. As always, this is our crew. We ride with our crew, and you are part of that. So thank you very much. All right, guys. So we look at what's going on in Raider Nation, what's been happening this week. And we wanted to look into one of the things that we're keen here on doing is really educating Las Vegas folks on the Raiders, because for those that are not Raider fans already, they need to start learning, because guess what? The team's coming, and it's going to be your hometown team, and the NFL is huge. In the NFL, you're going to be very excited when the team gets here and that stadium's open and things are moving. So we want to be able to give you some background. So next week's show, I just want to give you a preview of that. John Matuzak. What comes up when I say that name, guys?
Everything.
Hey, you guys!
You know what's funny? That's the only role I didn't know that was him.
You didn't know?
No.
That was going to be the first thing I was going to say. Is like, I don't want to be that bad guy that says that it's not a football related thing.
That's the only role I didn't know. I did not know that was him. I guess I didn't really. I wasn't a big fan of the movie. I don't know.
You're not a big fan of the Goonies?
Well, I think I was.
Well, Chaz, it was nice having you on the radio show. Good luck with your future endeavors.
I know everybody loves that one, but maybe I was a cool teenager by then, and I didn't want to.
Well, John Matuzak.
That's your excuse? You couldn't think of anything better?
I just didn't watch it.
Well, John Matuzak was going to be the subject we explore with former ESPN journalist and writer Steve Delshon, who wrote the book Cruisin' with the Twos.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not TWOS, it's TOOZ. The Twos. So we're going to do that. John Matuzak, a colorful character and someone that I know Raider Nation loves and loves to talk about. So we're going to have Steve Delshon on next week. Also, Jerry Knack, a guy that I've wanted to talk to for a very long time. He works for the Raiders. He's the Raiders official team historian.
Yeah.
And with him, guys, we're going to talk about the famous Ghost to the Post play. So we hope to bring Jerry on a regular basis, because all of these plays, if you're a Raider fan forever, which I know a lot of you who listen are, you know what Ghost to the Post is. You know what the Holy Roller is. Mm-hmm. All these different plays. For new fans, they don't. So we want to educate them. So Jerry, who is phenomenal, not only is the historian of the Raiders, but also as a prolific author of fantasy works himself, will be on as well. So we're going to talk Ghost to the Post next week.
No, the week after.
No, next week.
He's
Dave
on
Casper.
next week, too?
Next week.
Oh, wow.
He's on next week.
It's a big
so
week.
We'll get that. And then also we are planning on Jeremy Aguero from Applied Analysis to talk us through stadium stuff. There was a stadium news. We covered it last week. We covered it on the website around delays, which was around some materials that are coming in. So we're going to get a really in-depth. Jeremy is the guy, if you ever watch the meetings, if you stream the meetings, he's the guy who knows everything. Keeps it all together, keeps the meeting moving. So we're going to have Jeremy on to talk about that. So just another big show next week.
Nice.
It's off season for the Raiders technically, but for us here, Silver and Black Today, we don't have an off season. I have two players on my team who are playing hurt today. Kelly's got a stomach, a McDonald's stomach, and then
I got bad lungs.
Food stomach, and then Chaz is sick. So anyway, but the guys, one thing I want to touch on, because obviously it has some Oakland connection, is of course the NBA Finals, the Warriors and the Raptors.
Yeah.
Now, Chaz, you talked to Lincoln Kennedy when we were at the Celebrity Swing charity event. What did he say? What was his prediction?
That's right. I wanted to give Lincoln Kennedy his props. What was that? About a month ago, we talked to him, and the game happened to be on when I was interviewing him, and I could tell he was a big fan, so I was asking him about it. And I said, well, just, give me your prediction. And, of course, he said it would be Toronto and Golden State in the finals, which wasn't really a stretch, right? But at the time, Toronto and Philly were tied up 2-2, and Golden State was tied up with Houston 2-2. So, it wasn't really going out on a limb because they were probably two of the favorites, obviously Golden State. But the one thing he didn't say, he didn't give a winner. So I don't know if he was trying to be sneaky and he didn't want to offend the Golden State fans of Oakland because he's, prominent in that area. I think he probably was going to say Toronto would win it all, but he didn't say that.
But he's working in Oakland right now, so he doesn't want to do that.
But still, big props to Lincoln Kennedy, a big friend of ours here at the show, for predicting the finals correctly. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he would have said Toronto, but he...
Are you picking Toronto, by the way?
I always root for the underdog, so I'd go for Toronto.
What about you, Kelly? What do you got?
Well, I've got financial reasons that I'm rooting for Toronto.
Okay.
But I do believe that Golden State wins the championship.
Wow. But you put your money on Toronto, which says something.
Well, no, yeah.
The odds are good.
Well, no, it's anybody who makes a futures bet, you're using a futures bet to try to hedge and win money on either side,
right.
which is what I'm going to be able to do.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up the show here. Kelly Kreiner, thanks for coming in again, of course, as always. Chaz Osborne.
Pleasure.
My guys, my crew. You like them or you don't like them. It's your choice.
Well, we know
put it up on the poll.
We know, we know where that leans.
Yeah, we know. We know where that leads. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for joining us, as always, here on the Silver and Black Today. Don't forget to follow the website, silverandblacktoday.com. Follow us on Twitter, silverblack2day, where you can find us. Also, make sure that you can subscribe to this show and the archive of this show and podcast when we do them. We do them weekly during the season, and then during the off season, we tend to do them less frequently. But with the show, we're at least doing one thing a week. Do that, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, wherever, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast, you can subscribe to this show and listen to it usually within about an hour after it's off the air. So make sure you do that. Again, next week, John Matuzak will be our subject. Award-winning ESPN journalist and writer Steve Delshon, cruising with the twos. He'll be with us to talk about Matuzak. Jerry Knack, the official Raiders team historian, will talk about Ghost to the Post, and we'll have another stadium update for you guys. For Kelly Kreiner, for Chaz Osborne, I am Scott Branson. Want to appreciate our guests today, too, and say thank you to them. Peter Jonas from the LVGEA, if I can spit it out.
Jonas Peterson.
Jonas Peterson, thank you. Wow.
I mean,
slap me.
The Jonas Brothers are in town this weekend.
Yes, Jonas Peterson, thank you so much. Kim Gradisher from the Taylor Robinson Foundation. Paul Miner, of course, for coming in. And Austin Gayle from Pro Football Focus, who always gives us a great update. And it's so funny, guys. People, when it's not positive, Raider fans get very, very sensitive. Because they think everything is negative.
That's what they think about Kelly. He's a realist.
He's a realist. All right, guys.
Austin's great.
For Kelly Kreiner, for Chaz Osborne, I am Scott Branson. Thank all of you. Without you, we don't exist. We appreciate your loyalty, your viewership, and your listenership. We'll talk to you guys next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. Here on the Silver and Black Today on CBS Sports Radio 1140.